Okay, so this is a video to show you how to do this assignment. This is activity 2 in your Earth and Human Activity lesson. It says click on the video on this page to see how to create a graph from data and insert it into a Google slide presentation. Then go to Google Classroom and click on the activity 2 slides and sheets, two separate links. You will open both of them, and then you'll analyze your data and insert it into the Google slide to make a statement about the data. So this is the video you will click here to see, which you did. You'll go to Google Classroom. You'll click on your slide presentation. This is my dummy Google Classroom. If you noticed, it said dummy. It's not my classroom you'll be in, but it looks the same. And when your slide presentation opens up, it's going to have information about what it is. We know that it's the World Environmental Performance Index. The index that you can go to the website and look at has 180 countries compared to each other with 11 categories and 32 indicators. I took the privilege of narrowing that down for you to a lesser amount of data that is in this that you will open. And here I have taken 11 countries that you know, and I put their ranking according to the EPI, which is how they're doing environmentally in the world. Denmark is number 1, Switzerland number 3, and it goes on, and you can see the USA is number 24 out of 180 countries that were analyzed. So here's the EPI out of 100. The higher, the better. So you can see we rank 69.3%, and Denmark is at 82.5%. It goes up and down between countries. You can see the population in millions. That means 5.8 million people live in Denmark, and 330.75 million people live in the USA. The air quality is ranked out of 100. The best air quality is in the country of my list, not out of the whole 180, but out of the countries I chose was Australia. It is almost perfect air quality with 98.2%, and you can see the air quality of the other. This is air quality right here. Other countries. Then you've got the sanitation and drinking water. That's just how clean and sanitary things are as far as food and drinking water. So also like the garbage dumps and sanitation. Sanitation, it includes the whole of trash, and trash can leak into drinking water, so the drinking water is included in this number. And you can see as well Germany is a 99. There are a couple of countries that are a 100. Britain and France, Switzerland and Britain or UK are at 100, which is great. Then there's biodiversity and habitats. That's how well the country is taking care of its environment, its wildlife, its trees, lakes, all the things where animals and plants would live. Also, the eco-service is also part of that environmental area, the ecosystems, and how well they are taking care of those out of 100. Pollution emissions, that's from factories, cars, cows. A lot of emissions come from different things, and you can see Switzerland and the UK are both doing well as Denmark with 100. Canada and the US also have 100. That means we're taking care of that kind of pollution, which is really harmful to the ozone layer of the earth and to living things. Agriculture, that's about pesticides and how well we're taking care of our farmland as far as being polluted and environmentally safe. And then you've got your waste management, which is just how we take care of waste. There's a lot of waste when there's a lot of people. So you can see here where the population is 5.8 5.8 million, then they have 99.8% of waste management. But that also means they're recycling. That means they're almost recycling everything they use in that country. But if you look over here in the USA, you can see that it is 48.3 out of 100, which is less than 50, which, if they were grading us, we would be failing because we're not recycling. So let's create a graph. So the way you do that, you don't want to create this whole big graph. You want to select some things for your smaller graph. And I'm going to say pick 3 things. I'm going to pick ranking. I'm going to put it down here into a place below. I just hit Control C, Control V. I'm going to do population because I think that's going to correlate with some things. And maybe I'm going to do waste management. I say pick 3 things. Whoops, sorry. I say pick 3 things to choose from to make your graph. And then you're going to pick the countries that you want. I'm going to pick Great Britain. I'm going to put them up here. I'm going to pick, I'm just picking different ones at random. I'll pick the US because your data, no matter what you pick, is going to tell you something. And I'll just pick Mexico. We know there's a lot of people who live in China. They have a lot of issues. Okay, so then you're going to go back and get that data to plug in for each one. So, or you can just type it in. This was 4, and the population is 67. I'm going to round it. Whoop. Population is 67 million. And the waste management for the UK was 92.9, which I'm going to round that to 93. And if you don't want to round it yourself, I'll show you how you can get it to round it for you. For the US, we had the ranking was 24th in the list of countries. This was 69.3. So you can come up here once you've entered that. You can come up here and you can tell it to take one place value away and it will round it. Waste management for the United States was 48.3. And then we're going to go get Mexico's scores, which it ranked 51, way down there. And a lot of it has to do with how much money the country has as well. And I didn't upload that information. It is on the website. And you could correlate that as well, which could tell you a lot of things if we put the national gross product, or we put, how much they export or import, or how much money the country makes. So I'm going to take that and round it. And this one, waste management for Mexico was 74.3. So now I've got my data. I've got the ranking, population, and waste. I've got 3 countries. So I'm just going to highlight that area with all of those in it and make a box. I'm going to come up here to this little tool that says Insert Chart. I'm going to click Insert Chart. And it's going to automatically make a chart for me, a basic chart. But you can come over here to Set Up, and then we'll customize, because I want to show you everything you're going to do to your chart. You can click this, and you can pick a chart if you don't like that chart. If you would rather have a different chart, you could pick a line chart. You could pick, a bar chart. But for what I want this column chart. I want to switch the rows and the countries because I want my data to show opposite what it's showing. So that it's got the rank, population, and waste in these tall bars. And then underneath are the countries. To the left with the numbers, that's telling you how much. So let's go into customizing this now that I've at least got it set basically like I want. I'm going to go to my chart I'm going to give it a title. I don't like that title of the US whatever. It just made a title. I'm going to name it my EPI graph. So, and you could name it whatever you want. I'm going to make that bold. I'm going to change the color of the print by clicking title color. I'm going to make it bigger because I don't like it that small. I'm going to make it bigger. Okay, so now I have a title. And if you look at the rubric for your graph, we can go back over here and we can look at the rubric. You've got to have a title. That is one thing you've got to have is a title. I named this one Environmental Performance Ranking. You can name yours whatever. As long as it's something that's, what that pertains to your graph. Okay, so now I notice from this that I need these vertical titles and a horizontal title. I can go ahead and do those two now. So clicking this, I can go down. I don't want a subtitle, but I do want a horizontal title. That's the title at the bottom. I want it to say countries. And you can do different fonts. I'll just say country, because that just means it's the country. You can change the font if you want to. You can make it bold. You can change the color. You can change the size. So, if you want that a different font, you can come in here and make it a different font or even a totally different font. So you can see how that works. I'm going to make it that font. Now that I've got that title, I want to go and do a vertical axis title, which is this over here on the left is the vertical. And I want to say ranking for my vertical title. That is the ranking scores. I'll just say scores. Ranking scores. How about that? So then I'm going to make it match my other one. I think I picked Comic Sans, bold, dark blue, and I think I made it 24. Or did I make it 20? I can't remember. That seems a little big. Okay. But I can go back and check it. Anytime you want to check something, you just go click on it. It will bring it up over here in, oh, I misspelled country. It will bring it up over here in the right toolbar. COUNTRY, country. And I'm going to also make it 20. Okay, so now the basics. I already have this legend here. If it doesn't give you the legend, that's okay. You can make a legend by just clicking. If it just gives you the colors, but it doesn't give you a legend, you can click on them one at a time, and it would allow you to go in and change them. If I want to change the names of any one of them, I would just click on it, and right here it pops up, and this says waste management. I'm going to change that to say management, management, MGNT for an abbreviation. It's, if I can type. Okay. Period. And so then you could change those. Maybe I want them to be a little bold so they stand out. I'll just click this one. I don't like what I just did, so I'm going to undo. I'm going to click that one, and I'm going to make it bold, and then I'm going to click rank, and rank, and I'm going to make it bold. All of that's bold. Okay, so now let's work on the bars themselves. I like to put information, like I like to put labels on my bars. So for instance, these blue bars, I want to put, let me get it to open back up. Go away. There we go. Where it says data label over here to the right. Okay, this is the ranking one, the blue one. Just the blue bar. But I want labels on all of them eventually. So I'm just going to do data label. It's going to ask me how I want to present it. It's already putting it on there, but I don't like the way it did it. So I'm going to change it to bold. I'm going to change it to black. I'm going to change it to above or center. Well, I don't want to center it. I don't like that. Inside the end, I don't like that. Outside the end. There we go. That I do like. So now maybe I want the size of the number to be just a little bigger. I'm not sure what size it is, but that looks good. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing to my red one. I think I can go up and click this, and I can choose red, and then I can come down and do the same thing. Data label, bold, black, the size, 16, and where do I want it outside? Okay, and then I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to do I'm sorry. I didn't have to do that, did I? The yellow one. So let's go back and make sure I've got the red one, but I don't want it there. I want it outside. Then I'm going to do the yellow one the same way. Data labels, bold, black, 16. So now, and also I want it to be outside. So now I've got all of those labeled. So I'm finished with that. Here was my legends. I've finished with that. Now I want to go and see what else I can do to this. I can barely see the 4. I'm going to click over here on the numbers, and I'm going to give it a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 1600. Whoa, that did not work, did it? Let's see about my log scale. If I click my log scale, I can tell it to my log scale to be in different ways. So if I don't like the 1600, which I do like this, I like this a lot. So I'm going to go back to my series and see what else I can do to customize my my graph part. I don't want a trend line. You can check and see what different things are. It's just showing you different trends between the blue lines. But just play with it and you'll come up with a much better graph than me. You can give the graph a background. You can do all kinds of things to your graph. But basically, when you finish your graph, I wanted to show you one more thing. If I can figure out where it is. 3D. On chart styles, and I'm not clicked on anything. I'm just on the customized chart styles. I want to make my chart 3D. I just like the way it looks. I think it looks really good. And so I want to make it 3D. Okay, so now I really like my graph that I've created. I have given it, let's go check and make sure I've done everything. So I have a title, I have a vertical title, a horizontal title, I have the country's names, I have a readable data. My labels were option, but I like those, so I added those. My legends are here. These are all my legends. Rank, EPI, population, air quality was the legends for that one, and I did different ones this time. And I have to include a border when I insert it. So I'm going to go over to my assignment that I opened. Okay, and I'm going to the blank page. The blank page is, this is an example of how you're going to do your page. This is the rubric, and then here's your blank page. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click Insert a Chart, and I'm going to insert it from Sheets. And it's this name of the sheet. It'll just come up. It'll be your only sheet because it's the only one you have. It's going to show you all your graphs you have in that sheet. I only have one, so I'm going to import it. Now I can move it around, resize it. If I can move it around. Here we go. Resize it and do different things with it that I want to do with it. One of the things was to give it a border. A border is worth 10 points. So I want to make sure I give it a border. So I'm going to go over here to borders. I don't know. I'll just make it a dark blue border and make maybe like 8 and maybe shrink my graph just a tad. So now I want to look at my data. Let's see what our data is telling us. Over here, I'm going to type some observations about my data and then an I think statement. So here's Great Britain. They're ranked the highest, 4, and then the US, and then we kind of put them in order. So one thing I'm noticing is the lower the population, the higher the ranking. Yeah, they're ranked higher. The lower the population, the higher the ranking for each one. So I could write that, the lower. So the lower the population, for instance, this one, Great Britain has 67 million people and it's ranked 4th. And then the USA has more, 69.3, and it's ranked 24th, which is the next highest. And then Mexico has even more people with 126.19. And so, wow, I see I forgot to take the decimals out. And now there's decimal places, and I don't really like that. Let's go back to the chart. Let me move this out of the way. And I want to go back to make sure that all of these were rounded down. Like this one needs rounding down. This one needs rounding down. Or I could just type the number. Let's see how it will relate to my graph. I can go back. See if I can get my graph to update. My data range. That was my data range. Or I could tell it my data range again. Let's see if I can get it to update. Make sure these all say basic numbers. Okay, so if I go back to it updated, did you see how it updated? And now all of the numbers are there. So I can go back over here and it has an update button. Any changes I make in my sheet will automatically update once I click this button into my graph. So if you see something, once you get your graph big and on your page, and you look at the rubric and you see you forgot something, you can just go change it and click update. Now I like that a lot better. I like the way that looks. Oh, I still have 69.3 and I can go back and change that. But for the video purposes, I won't since I've already done it once. So now let's look and see if there is another observation that's obvious. Waste management, 74, 48, 93. Wow, you know what I'm noticing? That the USA's waste management is lower. So maybe I could make a statement that the US, or let's say the UK and Mexico have lower waste management than the US. So, and you'll just make little observations based on the chart. And it says here to make one or two statements about what the data is telling you, and then make an overall statement. So, for my overall statement, what do you think? I think the higher the ranking, the lower the population. And that wasn't exactly what we set up above, but it was almost backwards to what we set up above. So you could even just say here, if you want to just make a statement, I think the population growth directly affects the ranking. And we'd already made that statement, so that's just not making that statement again. So I think that the population growth directly affects the ranking because these rankings are exactly correlated with that, while waste management does not follow the rule in this case. But you could go and look and, just find your countries that you want to find and that you want to look at the data. I did four areas here. You can do four. I wouldn't do more than 4 or 5 for sure of these areas. I would only pick 3 countries because if you start getting way too much data, it gets crazy to try to analyze. But just look and make sure that you have everything. And once you have everything, go back to your Google Classroom and turn in your assignment. That's what this assignment is. That's all there is to it. Watch the video, maybe play it alongside in a split screen as you do it so that you can follow along with what I did and just click on them one at a time. And you'll just turn it in here for your grade. It is worth 100 points. You'll notice these two statements are also worth points. So I put on here your observation and your statements worth 10 points. Your graph inserted correctly. If you have to do a screenshot of it because you can't figure out how to insert it, you're going to lose some points. That's worth 20 points. That's a big technical thing that I'm grading you on. So if you have problems with it, message me and let me know. Just message your teacher if you have problems. I'm sure they can help you with this. Good luck with this assignment. I hope you enjoy learning about the different countries and how they rank in the world environmentally and how well they're doing at taking care of their garbage and pollution.